Well, folks, you've seen all the shiny new March of the Lich King card reveals, but one reveal remains. It's time to take a look at the new stuff coming to Duels. And many people expected, and they're right, that we're getting Death Knight for Duels as a new playable hero, a new class for Duels, but that's not all. We're getting 2 Death Knights for Duels. Yeah, we're actually going to get 2 brand new heroes for Duels, allowing you to give some different looks and different spins on the new Death Knight class in Duels. And in this video, I'm going to showcase all of their hero powers, all of their signature treasures, and some new passive and active treasures as well. So pretty big update here. Oh, and one quick note I know people will be curious about. I'm told that the deck building process for Duels will follow the rules for Death Knight runes. So you can't do any crazy rune stuff with your Duels starter deck. I do not know how that will apply once buckets are in play. I don't know if your buckets will follow your rune rules, but at the very least, your deck building will, which is an important note to consider. But let's kick things off with new Death Knight hero number 1. So first up here is Scarlet Leaf Dancer, and she's got 3 new hero powers. Blood Parasite for 2 mana, summon a 2/1 Bloodworm with Life Steal. So I like that, getting some life gain down every turn, maybe play a nice big greedy blood deck and just try to stay alive forever. You've also got Hematology, a 1 mana hero power. Spend up to 3 corpses for each. Reduce the cost of a card in your hand by 1. So potentially some big cost reduction there. Could allow you to cheat out some big scary stuff a little bit faster than normal, which that's historically worked pretty well in Duels. And then you've also got Scourging, a new 2 mana hero power. This one just allows you to discover an undead. So undead synergies abound and potentially just creating a ton of value on the back of that one. We've also got Scarlet's signature treasures here. We've got Runed Soulblade, a 4 mana 3/4. After your hero takes damage, deal 1 damage to all enemies and lose 1 durability. So kind of a nice defensive weapon there with defensive AoE if you want it, or of course if they're not hitting you, you can just smack face for 3 if you'd like. It might be cool for some like weapon synergies. If you buff up that durability a bunch somehow, that could be a really neat weapon, hard to deal with for the opponent. You've also got Scourge Strike, a new 3 mana spell with incredibly sick artwork. Look at that. She's just slicing through all of those ghouls, dude. She will gain 1 corpse here, destroy 1 enemy minion, and draw 1 card, and that's going to improve during the run. So that's going to scale up a bunch. Destroying enemy minions in particular, that scales really nicely. That could be functionally a board clear and a huge reload tool later. The corpses just kind of feel like a nice bonus there. You've also got Crimson, which might be the sickest artwork in the history of Hearthstone, as far as I'm concerned. This dude looks so freaking cool. I had to tease him on Twitter early. He is a 1/1 undead beast. Whenever your hero is healed, this minion gains that much attack and health. So some really nice heal synergies here, able to turn this guy into a monster scaling minion potentially. I love the idea of getting a gigantic Crimson just overwhelming the opponents. We've also got the Ironweave Bloodletter here next to me. 3 mana 3/2 battle cry. For the rest of the game, whenever you consume 1 or more corpses, restore 2 health to your hero. So a bunch of life gain here on this weapon, and that's a for the rest of game effect as well. So I love this like ultimate survivability game plan. That looks really fun. And Scarlet's got a lot of weapons because we also have Great Sword of the Ebon Blade, a 3 mana 1/5. Whenever you play a minion, give it Reborn, and this loses 1 durability. So you've got some awesome stuff that could be really beneficial. Reborn, of course, Great Sword of the Ebon Blade. It's going to give you some power plays there. Might just also try to swarm people down with this early, just get an awesome board. And then finally, a concoction for Death Knight here. It's 2 mana, Contagion Concoction. It will infect a minion with Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to your hero, then infect a neighbor. So basically, you're going to give this to your opponent's stuff, and you're going to hope that it bounces around between their minions, kind of like a Greybow style effect. But each time it does, it's going to deal 3 damage to that hero. So this could be, if they can't like wipe their board effectively or get rid of the contagion, they're going to take a billion damage. So it's kind of like a natural Greybow counter. Yeah, make all your Greybows, but I'm going to deal a bunch of damage to you along the way. So that sounds really fun, trying to manipulate board states and stuff where Contagion Concoction works really well. So all in all, some really fun build around opportunities here, some high powered stuff. Sure, you can already see some lines with the hero powers for Scarlet as well, synergizing with these. So excited to try out all of these. Basically, they all look really, really fun. So now let's talk about Sai Shadestorm, the other Death Knight hero with 3 new hero powers, of course. Number 1 is Ghoul Blitz. This will summon a 1/1 ghoul with charge and reborn. It dies at the end of turn. So basically a couple bodies, a couple corpses here. Helps you trade better on board sometimes. Pretty interesting upgrade basically to the default Death Knight hero power. We've also got Gathering Storm for 2 mana. This will gain you a corpse and draw you a card. So nice sometimes to just have those card draw engines built into a hero. That's been really reliable in duels, just making sure you don't run out of resources and getting the corpse along the way. Hey, that's a nice little bonus. And then finally, the Lichborn Might, a 1 mana hero power. This will give a friendly minion +3/+3, but it dies at the end of your turn. So this could actually be a way to like push a lot of damage and aggression, just have some like sticky throwaway reborn minions over and over again, and just keep whacking face for an extra 3 every time, or maybe taking some good trades. And then stuff dying is not necessarily bad for you, especially if you're trying to build up some corpse totals, or if the minions really aren't that valuable. So that looks actually rather promising. So that said, let's take a look at Sai's signature treasures here. We've got Gluth, a 4 mana 4/2 undead beast. Battlecry, give your other undead +2/+1 and reborn. So if you got a big early swarm board, Gluth could be a very powerful follow-up, right? That is kind of like, you know, an Arbor Up style effect, and it had some stickiness with the reborn. So it's almost like Arbor Up and Soul of the Forest had a baby and its name was Gluth. That looks really powerful to me. We've also got the Glaciax, a 4 mana 5/2 weapon, so big damage there. With Death Rattle, equip a 2/5 Wings of Glaciax, and as you can see there, that's a 4 mana 2/5. It's automatically equipped, so you don't have to spend any mana on it. Wind Fury, Death Rattle, summon 4 1/1 zombies with Reborn. So it takes a while to pay off that Death Rattle, but I don't know if you're going to need it. That's just a lot of damage. Sometimes early in a duels run, that's probably just going to win some games on its own, because that first half is 10 damage, and then you've got another 10 damage on the back. That's your 20 damage right there. Not to mention you'll have other ways to do damage and finish people off. So that looks really, really good early. Maybe not quite as good late in the run, because it's going to take a while to get those zombies down. Might be hard for them to be impactful at that point, but still has that early run dominance sort of feel. We've also got Remembrance of Ice, a 6 mana frost spell. Resurrect the minions. Your frost spells have killed this game. So that sounds really cool. You know, playing kind of a defensive control-y frost deck, killing a bunch of stuff, and then using this to get it all back and swing the game. That looks like a really fun build around. We've also got Unholy Embrace, a 4 mana spell. Spend up to 10 corpses and add an Unholy Rune card to your hand for each. So big old value generator here for Unholy Embrace. That sounds like a cool way to get some awesome some cards. And if you're playing with Unholy, you know, synergy stuff anyway, it might be really beneficial and fit your deck rather nicely. We've also got Gluth Sickle, a 7 mana 6/4 undead beast. Battlecry, summon 2 undead from your deck and freeze them. So this is like run some big crazy undead stuff. Maybe they've got taunt already, so you don't care if they're frozen too much, and use this as kind of a super spiteful summoner just to get some gigantic bodies out all at once. And then finally, we have the Inexorable Ghoul for 5 mana 5/5. Undead, of course, has Rush and Revive 2. Now, that's a keyword we've seen in Hearthstone before in some of the like single player stuff, and that means if it stays true to the previous iterations of Revive, that this is just gonna come back to life every 2 turns. So basically an inexorable minion indeed, because he cannot be dealt with very well here. So there you have it, the 2 new heroes. I am really excited to try out a lot of this stuff. I think we've got some really fun build around potential, some really neat cards to play with. Really excited to put a lot of these in YouTube thumbnails, so on and so forth. But that's not all. We've also got some new passive treasures, and I'm going to duck my head literally so you can read this real quick. Up first is Blood Shields, a pool 1 passive. After the first time you spin a corpse in a turn, gain 1 health. So just some default health gain there. Again, I love these like defensive blood-based decks. Just gaining 1 billion life and then healing up forever. That sounds really fun. You've also got the Cadaver Collector, a pool 1 passive. After the first time you gain a corpse in a turn, gain 1 additional corpse. So if you've got a lot of ways to spend and pay off those corpses, this could really help you accelerate that. We've also got some pool 2 passives. Cold Feet Pact. At the end of your turn, summon a Risen Groom with stats equal to half your corpse total. So if you're getting a bunch of big corpses, this could help you make some monster minions at the end of every turn. Just getting like free 5/5s, free 10/10s at some point. I've seen some pretty crazy corpse totals, so that looks really, really crazy and fun to play with. We also have Ghouls Rush In. Fantastic name. Pool 2 passive. After the first time you spend a corpse in a turn, summon a 2/2 Risen Ghoul with Rush. So a bunch of 2/2s there. Now, keep in mind that for both of these final two, they are Risen minions. They will not feed back into your corpse pool. You won't continue to get additional corpses, but still some big free bodies potentially off of both of these if you've got the mechanisms to get those corpses rolling and spent as well. And then we also have a new active treasure as well. It's the Tiny Thimble. I don't know where this artwork comes from. I don't know if this is new artwork, but it's amazing. He's a 3-mana 3/3 undead with Rush and Death Rattle, add a regular sized thimble to your hand. And that is a 4-mana 5/5 undead with Rush. And it reads, after this attacks and kills a minion, gain +2/+2. So sort of a Darius Crowley here for everybody, but bigger stats, cheaper body, and you know, some good scaling there and some undead synergies potentially as well, all of which could be rather nice to utilize. So a couple Rush bodies just give you a nice little curve fill. I could see some decks happy to run this, whether there's Death Rattle synergies or undead synergies or just need minions sometimes or neutral synergies. There's a lot of different ways to slice this card. So both really, really charming characters and also a pretty darn nifty new treasure. And we don't get many new active treasures. That's really nice to see a new active treasure being added to the pool. And then finally, one last thing here. I'm not going to give you the details on this. You're going to have to stay tuned for the patch notes, which should be hitting tomorrow. But I'm told there's a big update coming to the bucket system in Duels. So I know a lot of people have been clamoring for this one, and it sounds like we're going to have a big shakeup on how buckets are going to work. So, you know, again, I don't have all the details. Stay tuned. You'll learn more, but a hopeful update nonetheless for a lot of folks, I know. So wanted to give you at least a little teaser that this is on the way very, very soon. So all that said, that wraps it up for this Duels reveal. Pretty exciting stuff to get 2 brand new heroes and a new class. And of course, that alone is going to add a lot of a new stuff and a new meta to shake up to Duels in its own right, but then also some really exciting new cards to play. So share your thoughts on all of these Duels reveals in the comments below. I'm curious to hear what you're most excited to play. What do you think is going to be really strong? I want to hear it all. I want your tips so we're ready to go when this stuff hits Duels in the very near future. On that note too, stay tuned for details on releases and when all this stuff's actually going to be available versus playable versus in the client and not. There's a lot of details there always. But patch notes will be hitting tomorrow to give you all of those juicy deets that I don't currently have. So that's it. Thank you much for watching. Good luck out there in Duels. And until next time, game on.